Library Connection. I'm Mandy Cantrell from the B.B. Comer Memorial Library here in Sylacauga. Today joining me is Tommy Johns. He is our performer for the day. I'm very excited you're here. Thank you for coming early.
Oh, thank you. Thanks for inviting me. I appreciate it.
Great. We have had one of the best summers we've ever had. We've had good crowds at our programs like you. We've had a lot of kids reading. We've read over 3,000 books in our summer reading club.
That's great.
And I'm probably more than that, but I'm very excited. But I'm excited about your show today. Tommy, this is not your first time in Sylacauga.
No, I've been coming here for well over a decade.
I know, yeah, as long as I've been here, which has been 13 years.
Oh,
so,
wow.
Yeah,
So
maybe
probably, maybe 15. I've been doing this for 17 years. So this is my 18th summer. And I think I came to Sylacauga probably my second or third year for the first time, and I don't think we've missed one except for the year which shall not be named.
Yes, no, let's not talk about that anymore. Well, my very first question is to tell us about yourself.
Okay. Well, my name is Tommy Johns. I'm a magician, a puppeteer. I tell kids I'm a pretty funny guy, but mostly I'm a reading crusader. I love to read, and I really believe in encouraging other people to read, whether I do a program for kids or for teens. Every once in a while, they let me in front of a grown-up group. I always talk about reading. I think it's an important part of helping you become who you want to be and realizing your potential. Good readers can learn to do almost anything. Good readers can have all kinds of adventures. Good readers can meet all kinds of people. And good readers can travel to all kinds of places in your imagination. And so, as you probably have guessed, I've said that a few thousand times over the past 20 years. So.
Well, that's exciting. You always do wonderful programs. And one thing I love about your programs is you always promote books.
Right.
Specific books, not just reading. You do promote reading in general, but you promote specific books. And we've got the list you sent me. We've got those books out at the library.
Good.
I just love it. I know I read on your website your mission is to create and deliver educationally significant programs that encourage kids to read.
Right.
That's exactly what you do.
Right. I have an education background. Both of my degrees are in education, and I have, when I first started doing magic full time, I tried a lot of different things. I did magic for adults, I did magic for kids, I did birthday parties. I'd been doing birthday parties for years. I started doing this when I was in college as a way to make a little extra money, and when I had a real job. And then when I started in 2001 doing this full time, I really wanted to find a niche. I didn't want to just be the guy who did everything. And the advice I was getting from a lot of people was, if you specialize in something and get known for that, you'll be more successful, it'll be more profitable, you'll be able to do it better. Because if you're doing 9 things, you can do them just to a certain level of good. And if you are doing just one thing or 2 things, you can do them really well. And I met a guy named Julian Franklin in 2003 at Cadabra, which is a children's entertainers convention. Magicians, puppeteers, face painters, balloon twisters, ventriloquists meet once a year in different places. We move around, trying to stay one step ahead of the law, I guess. I don't know. But I met him, and he was doing 350 to 400 shows a year only at schools and libraries. That's all he did. He didn't do birthday parties, he didn't do after prom parties, he didn't do entertainment for anything else. And he offered, the next year, he offered to take 3 people at a time into his home, and we'd spend a week with him. We'd shadow him, we'd see how he did his marketing, we'd see how he wrote his programs, we'd watch how he set up, how he did a show at a school.
Wow.
And it really changed the way that I thought about performing.
So you were one of those few.
I was one of those few. I was in the second group that he took through. If I hadn't had to save up to get the money, I'd have been in the first group. But I was in the second group. I think he did 3 groups of 3 that year, and it really just changed my perspective on what I could do, and the fact that I could do a show that was more than just entertaining. You've seen my shows. You know, I really strive to be very entertaining and very funny and engaging, but do something more than just give somebody 45 minutes of laughter. I wanted to drive home a message about reading, and so that's what I did. I've always, it wasn't, believing in reading wasn't something new for me, but knowing how to take that believing in reading into my shows was what Julian taught me. And so, so yeah, he's the guy that helped point me in this direction, and our friendship has grown over the years. So it's been great. So.
Well, I've always thought if you want to know how to do something well, find somebody who does it well and learn from them. So that's perfect.
Yep.
That's great.
Find an
well,
expert.
I just love, you take every theme, like our theme this summer is all together now, unity, friendship, and kindness.
Right.
And you take whatever the theme is and you make a brand new program every year.
Right. Yeah, all new magic, all new puppet skits. The only thing that's consistent year to year is I'm the performer, and Roosevelt Rapt has a place in the show somewhere.
Yes.
So most of the time he's the grand finale, but sometimes he'll be in the middle, and at least once he has been the kickoff of the show. But most of the time he's the star. He's at the end of the show, and so I wear different costumes, have a different backdrop. Everything about the show is brand new every year. So.
Wow, I love the way you put your programs together. I mean, you said you want to make sure you're teaching something, and you look at the standards, right? And have other people that help you, other school teachers and things like that.
I've got I'm married to a retired media specialist. She was an elementary school media specialist, and I have a large circle of friends who are school teachers.
Sure.
And so everything that I now when I write it for the summer, I write it with the emphasis on reading and that topic.
Yes.
And if it's the type of thing that I think I can take into the schools, I'll then talk to teachers. We'll look at whatever the standards are in Georgia and Alabama, and they change every couple of years, which grades do what. But if it's the kind of thing that I can turn into an educational show, then I'll consult with them, and we'll add the educational components. We may take out one or two of the funny pieces and put in something that applies, because schools are so under the gun for making sure everything they do moves kids forward educationally, that just to come in and do a fun show is not something that happens very often. Every once in a while in May, toward the end of the year, once they've stopped teaching,
a reward for
after the big test is over and they're stopped teaching. And I apologize to my teacher friends who are out there. That's just a joke. But
they're able to do some more fun things.
Right, but I'll do some fun shows then. But mostly, if I'm going to be in a school, it's got to teach something. And so last summer's show, for instance, was a lot of fun. It was about the ocean, but the ocean is not an important science standard in Georgia or Alabama. That's where I do most of my shows. And so I did not turn that one into a school show. But when we did the show about heroes, that one is a character education show, and that is part of the standards. And so I've done that one, the science show, the year that we did Fizz Boom Read. That show became one of my most popular shows. And then, of course, I've got a show called I Love to Read, which was the first show that I wrote, which is just a general encouraging reading show. We talk about genres and all the different things there. So. And I'm planning to turn this one, Let's Be Friends, into a school show, because I think that with a little bit of an anti-bullying emphasis and friendship, cooperation, working together, inclusiveness, those kind of things, I think that's something that people are hungry for. And if an outside guest can come in and show them that it is fun and it is cool and it is important to have friends, a diverse group of friends, then I think that's a show that needs to be seen. And so I'll turn that into an educational show during August, and we'll see what happens in September.
All right. Well, great. Well, we're going to pause for a minute for a commercial break, and we'll be right back and talk some more with Tommy Johns.
Senior Adult Activity Center offers the senior citizens in the Sylacauga and surrounding areas lots of fantastic activities throughout the week. Sewing, ladies bridge, quilting, game-o-rama, ceramic classes, bingo, travel club, and lots more. It's all at the Maxie Veazey Senior Adult Activity Center, located next to the J. Craig Smith Community Center in Sylacauga. Don't spend any more time alone. Get out, make new friends, and have fun.
Coosa Valley Medical Center, one of the top 10 hospitals in Alabama, is also Sylacauga's largest employer. Services from the emergency room to surgery to cancer treatment to post-stroke care. You won't believe what's right in your backyard. It's Coosa Valley Medical Center in Sylacauga. So, if you're sick in Alabama, choose one of the top 10 hospitals in Alabama. That is Coosa Valley Medical Center.
The all-new Marble City Pharmacy in Sylacauga is your destination for the highest quality health care. Our remodeled and expanded pharmacy gives us the space to serve more patients. We've added a drive-through window for those times when you don't feel like getting out of your vehicle. And we still offer delivery within city limits. We feature a full line of over-the-counter medications and supplements. And don't forget our stunning new gift department. New building, same great people. Marble City Pharmacy, here for life.
Welcome back to Library Connection. I'm talking with Tommy Johns. He's our performer for today. And before I ask him another question, I want to be sure and thank TV47 for all they do to help us put on our program, especially Chris, who's in the other room making everything work right now. Well, Tommy, your program this year is Let's Be Friends. It takes one to make one.
Right.
That's right.
Yep.
Okay. Tell me about how you got that idea.
Well, we started out with last year when I began promoting this summer's show. I always come up with a working title. Most of the time, the working title becomes the title. So last year, I announced to everybody that the show would be called The Friendship Factory. It takes one to make one, with the idea of making friends, making things in a factory, and we thought we'd be able to pull that together. But I've got a team of collaborators. They don't work for me. We work together. There's a guy in Mississippi. There are two guys in Tennessee. There's one guy on Long Island. I've got a guy in Maryland. We have a brainstorm group.
Right.
We call ourselves the Mastermind, the Red Mastermind Group, and Red stands for Really Entertaining Dudes.
Okay.
And so we had to come up with a name because if you've got a group, you need to
have a name.
So we did that, and we collaborate a good bit. Barry Mitchell, who's been to your library, Gene Cordova has been to your library, Lee Andrews, have all been part of that group. Those folks, and then a couple of other people that I know were working on the show, trying to come up with a way to make the factory idea work, and it just wasn't clicking for us. And so sometime in late February, I said, what if we just rethink the title? What if we go with the ideas that we've been talking about, making one, and we go with a different title? And so we tossed around some ideas, and we came up with the idea of Let's Be Friends. It takes one to make one. And my show takes place in my woodworking shop. One of my hobbies is I'm a woodworker. And so I've got the overalls, the backdrop, it looks like a woodworking shop. I've got a work table and a pegboard and all the stuff there. And so suddenly it clicked. It seemed to make sense. That my workshop is a place where I make a lot of things. I make furniture, I make toys, I make props for my magic show, and I make friends there. And one of the ways that you make friends is to find people who have something in common with you, and even if it's just one thing in common, and then you can build on that.
Sure.
And so, and it really fit the theme of All Together now. I knew I wanted to go with friendship. I knew there would be a lot of community programs. People, libraries could have the police or the firefighters, or have the mayor come in, those kinds of things. And so I didn't really necessarily want to go with community as part of the All Together Now theme, but the idea of kindness and friendship, and that really struck a chord with me. And so,
I think it's wonderful how you guys all work together too.
Well, it helps that that we don't have the competitive mindset. Now, there are a lot of people in my profession and others that guard their secrets, not just their magic secrets, but their ideas, their routines. They're not on YouTube. They don't want anybody to see what they're doing because they're so afraid somebody's going to steal an idea. I've never had the attitude that my stuff is so good somebody's going to steal it, because all by myself I'm just pretty good. But when I work with these guys and I see what we can do together, which I guess is kind of, all my years of working with these guys sort of led to this show, because we have worked together and set an example of that. But we have I did a lecture with my best friend Dorian LaChance from Mississippi at a convention in Washington, D.C. for magicians and performers. It was a different convention than the one I mentioned earlier. This one's Capital Kidvention instead of convention, but the same kind of idea. Family performers from all over gather. And we did, we've lectured together on several things. One of the things that we've lectured on is collaboration.
Yes.
because I really think it does make a difference. I think we can be a lot better than either one of us can be alone. So
I think that is great because you got, I mean, like we have you, we've had Jean Cordova, we've had Louis, we've had Barry in the past.
Right.
So you're all coming to some of the same places.
Right.
But you're not doing the same thing.
right, there are enough good ideas that that we can. There are only a couple of guys that are doing pretty much the same show that I'm doing.
Right.
My friend in Mississippi and Tim Sonnefeld, who's in South Carolina.
Yes.
But the guys that are in the same area, we do bounce ideas off of each other, but we come up with very, very different. You may see one thing in my show today that you would have seen in Barry's show if he'd been here. And then Gene helped me write the puppet skit for this year, and was really frustrated with the fact that he couldn't steal that idea because he was going to be in some of the same libraries I was going to be in. So. Yeah.
Y'all work everything out, though.
We do.
Because you're friends.
Because we're friends,
that's
exactly.
Perfect. That's
exactly.
perfect. Now that kind of leads to the book that you've written, Teach Me
With Some Magic.
With Some Magic. Yes, tell me about that.
Well, I have, when I first went full-time in 2001, I didn't go into the libraries because I was convinced that there was a magician in Georgia who was already doing all the libraries. And so I thought, well, I got to do something in the summer. And I went to speak to a guy at the Parks and Recreation Department, and I said, what if I teach magic camp, magic lessons? My kids had been to chess camp and to gymnastics camp and basketball camp and soccer camp.
Sure.
And they hated sweating, and I knew there had to be other kids who hated sweating, so let's do an indoor camp, and I proposed the idea to him.
Everybody's not an athlete.
And so
right?
within just a few days of talking with him, he sent feelers out to other Parks and Recreation. I booked the whole summer doing magic camps.
Wow.
And because whenever you do magic for kids, they want to know how the trick is done, and when you tell them, well, I can't tell you the secret, I could teach you how to do it, and so they would say, teach me some magic, teach me some magic. Take that idea, and then in 2004, I had kind of added an item to my bucket list that I wanted to be published in every major magic magazine in the world. I've never been, I've always been a dreamer. I've always dreamed big. And so, so I decided I want to do that. And there are 5 big ones at that time. 3 of them are associated with organizations, and the 2 of them are just independent magazines. And so I approached, at a convention, I approached the editor of one of these. I had known him, I'd met him before, and I said, I'd like to write an article. I've always wanted to write an article, and I'd like to write an article for your magazine. And he said, send me something. I was shocked. I said, seriously? He said, yeah. He said, magazine editors stand on street corners begging for articles every month. And he said, I've got to fill up 140 pages every month. He said, send me an idea. And so I started out with the idea of teach me some magic, but I'd already started doing, by this time, I'd already started doing educational shows.
Right, okay.
And so I added one word to teach me some magic, teach me with some magic, and so this is the title of my book. It was the title of that article. And as I wrote it, it ended up being a 2-part article because it was too long to publish in one piece.
Okay.
And I talked about the principles of using magic, using comedy, using puppets to teach and encourage, teach a subject and to encourage, in my case, reading, because that's what I'm on a mission to do. Over the years, I expanded it, I've lectured on it, and then last year I decided it was just time to go ahead and make a book out of it.
Write it all
So I published this, Teach Me With Some Magic, advice, stories, opinions, and facts about developing educational school assembly programs that teach, inspire, and motivate students. And I had to read that because the subtitle is so long. But I launched this at a convention in January, sold several hundred copies. I've gotten my first royalty check.
Yay!
Yeah,
good.
Went out to eat. It was at the drive-through, but I was able to do that. And so, yeah, it's been fun being a published author. You know, it's I've written probably 100 articles. I did achieve my goal. I was in every one of those magazines, and I became a regular contributor to 2 of them, where I had a monthly article. But being a published author, actually having a book to hold in my hand was a real achievement for me. I appreciate it.
That is
excited.
wonderful. And I love how it's not just teach me some magic. It's teaching other things using magic.
Right. Well, this one is for magicians. This is for variety performers, puppeteers, matter of fact, the group that attended my lecture when I launched the book were balloon artists, puppeteers, ventriloquists, magicians. There was some jugglers, others who wanted to see how to move their show into an educational show, and this tells you how to do it. There are no magic tricks taught in here, but it tells you from looking for standards, making friends with teachers, asking questions. I found that that buying Chick-fil-A and bringing it to a school teacher after school to sit with them for an hour is a very inexpensive way to get an expert opinion on something.
I'm sure that's true.
Yeah.
Wow. We're going to pause for another commercial break, and we'll be right back and talk some more with Tommy.
The Maxie Veazey Senior Adult Activity Center offers the senior citizens in the Sylacauga and surrounding areas lots of fantastic activities throughout the week. Sewing, ladies bridge, quilting, game-o-rama, ceramic classes, bingo, travel club, and lots more. It's all at the Maxie Veazey Senior Adult Activity Center located next to the J. Craig Smith Community Center in Sylacauga. Don't spend any more time alone. Get out, make new friends, and have fun.
Coosa Valley Medical Center, one of the top 10 hospitals in Alabama, is also Sylacauga's largest employer. Services from the emergency room to surgery to cancer treatment to post-stroke care. You won't believe what's right in your backyard. It's Coosa Valley Medical Center in Sylacauga. So, if you're sick in Alabama, choose one of the top 10 hospitals in Alabama. That is Coosa Valley Medical Center.
The all-new Marble City Pharmacy in Sylacauga is your destination for the highest quality health care. Our remodeled and expanded pharmacy gives us the space to serve more patients. We've added a drive-through window for those times when you don't feel like getting out of your vehicle. And we still offer delivery within city limits. We feature a full line of over-the-counter medications and supplements. And don't forget our stunning new gift department. New building, same great people. Marble City Pharmacy, here for life.
Welcome back to Library Connection. I'm talking with Tommy Johns. He's our performer today who came all the way from Georgia. Appreciate you coming.
Oh, sure.
Great. And I'll tell you, I love your show. You do magic, I know, but I don't think of you as just someone that does magic because you have puppets, lots of audience participation, you're promoting reading and books, just having a lot of comedy too. It's
right.
and your show is different every year. So I know a lot of work goes into it.
Right.
Gosh.
Right.
What is this one about? Let's be friends. It takes one to make one.
Well, for the theme this summer, All Together Now, I mentioned earlier that I want to do something on friendship. I feel like it's really important. And coming off the 2 years of isolation that we had, I think it's really important to remind kids or teach them for the first time how important it is to be connected to other people. I know that for me, that was the hardest part of the lockdown, was being separated from my friends. I can still talk with them, I can still chat with them, but there's nothing quite like having a hamburger and sitting across the table from somebody and having ideas, sharing ideas. And so we talk about 5 steps to friendship, 5 things that we can do to be friends. And the scenario is that in my workshop, which is where we are with the backdrop and everything, in my workshop I've got a problem with bees. Not South American killer bees, not honeybees, not bumblebees, but we've got a problem with spelling bees. And so I've got a net and I catch 5 different words. They're spelled out, and the first one is kind, because that's the easiest thing to do, is to be kind. And I ask the kids, how are some ways we can be kind? And I always get great answers. Some of my favorites is just hug somebody. I thought that was great. Of course, not everybody loves that, but
I do.
But I think that. So we talk about that, and there is some magic in the show, but when somebody leaves, I really want them to think that was fun, and I'm inspired. And so we talk about what it takes to have friends, and I forget. I think it was Thoreau. Who said, "I went out to find a friend and could not find one. I went out to be a friend and found them everywhere."
Oh, that's
And I love that idea. I love the idea of it's up to me to be a friend first before I can really expect people just to come to me and say, "Hey, I want to be your friend." And so we talk about that in the show. Roosevelt is in the show. He does the big review at the end.
Yes.
I've got a hippopotamus puppet, Claudia,
Oh, okay.
who
Yes.
was last in the space show. She's got the hiccups in this show, and that's pretty funny.
Yes.
Yeah, audience participation. We do some kind of amazing things with the magic, but the big thing is the message in the show, and so.
That's great. We appreciate that. Now, I almost forgot what I was going to ask you. Oh, how do you choose books for your shows?
Well, there are, I mean, you can do a search. There are several websites like Goodreads.com
Yes,
and others that have every cross-reference you can imagine. So you
Right.
put in a search term, I want to find a book about loyalty.
Okay,
And
yeah.
so the first ones that pop up are books that are specifically written for loyalty. I usually throw those out because if somebody writes a book, 12-page or 24-page picture book about loyalty, it's probably one that is so specific it's not going to really appeal to kids.
That's true.
A lot of teachers use them and they're really good for launching a lesson.
Yes.
I love the idea of doing that. But a lot of those books are written very specifically for that.
Yes.
But for instance, on loyalty, two books that came up were Grumpy Monkey and Hippopotamus. Now, Grumpy Monkey is a book about a monkey who's grumpy. His name is Chimpanzee, which I think is a fabulous name for a monkey. So Chimpanzee is having a grumpy day. He's really grumpy. But instead of his friends throwing him out of the jungle until he gets his attitude right, his friends try to help him. That's what loyalty is about. And so on the surface, it's not a book about loyalty. It's a book about a grumpy monkey who has these misadventures, and his friends try to help him. And at the end, he's not feeling any better. He's still grumpy, but they accept him. Well, that's what loyalty is about. And the hippopotamus has a similar theme. And so I usually dig down on those lists, and so I find some things. I ordered 70-something books from Amazon and the local public library. I didn't pay for that many books, but I'd have to charge more for my shows if I bought all those. But the library's free. You can get books from the library for free. They didn't have all the titles that I was looking for, and so I did have to buy some that I didn't use. And Amazon will actually let you return books, but I feel guilty doing that if I've already read it, so I don't. So I've added it to my library.
I hate to cut you off because we could talk for so long, but I'm excited. You actually read through the books.
So I read through the books, I find the ones, and then I find a magic trick that will go with it or a puppet skit that will go with it. A lot of magicians go the opposite way. I've got this really cool magic trick, now let's find a book to force into it. It's a little harder to do it that way. So.
Gosh. Well, I can't wait to see your show in just a little bit.
It'll be fun.
Thank you. I appreciate you coming in early to do this.
Happy to do it.
And thank you so much for joining me, and come see us at the library.